morning to you. Happy Wednesday. How are we doing this morning? I hope that we are okay. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Your World. And of course, as you all know, Your World will really strive to make your day better. And I'm pretty sure by the end of today's conversation, you will have a different perspective, and especially when it comes to relationships. So today it's all about commitment phobia among the men, all right? And of course, the question that we're asking you today is, why is it that most men avoid committed relationships, all right? Why is it that men avoid committed relationships? That is what we'll be focusing on the conversation today. So you want to stick around until the end of the conversation to understand what we are talking about, because it's all about commitment phobia among the men. And of course, the question is it germophobia, or do you guys know gamophobia, not germ, because germ is a totally different thing, all right? Gamophobia, or is it a choice that men prefer not to settle down with? So that is the conversation that we are talking about today, because I'm pretty sure you've had people say that I have commitment issues, and this often refers to a person's difficulty when it comes to settling down. However, this situation can also be emotional unavailability or fear of intimacy. So for many men, committing to a serious relationship is one of the most challenging decisions in life, and pretty sure, again, you've heard most of them say, why commit to one great woman when the next one may be just one swipe away? Well, let's take a deep dive into what commitment phobia is all about, and for the ladies, how to deal with a commitment phobic man. And if you have a story as well, as far as maybe you dated a man who was scared of commitment, how was it? But again, for the men, the question that we're asking you today is, why is it that most men avoid committed relationships? We have a number of feedback from you, all right? It is a lot, so we'll be looking at them as we continue with the conversation, but let's have let's see what we have so far as what you had to say on the question of the day, and that is, why is it that most men avoid committed relationships? All right, let's get to see if we can have them on here, some of the feedback that we have as far as what men are saying. All right, so Ladsman Jonte says they fear responsibilities. Financial restraint is the key reason. All right, tafuta pesa. All right, as most would say. Okay. And then Joe M. Gitonga says, sometimes I feel for us men, our life solely depends on us alone. If you do not have a job, you sleep hungry. No luck, no favors. It is just hard work. A lady can maneuver, but a man has to work hard. May God always fill our pockets. Amen. All right. Hashtag Your World. Okay. And then let's get to hear what someone else has to say. Alex Mutuku says, wrong timing. We're in a World Cup mood. Senegal has just made it round of 16. Come on, okay? So World Cup will come and go, but we just want to understand, why is it that some men, that is, are scared of commitment, all right? So Chris Gueth says, men will commit when they get someone to commit to. Wow, that is very profound. And of course, we'll be, looking at that deeper. But let me introduce my guest. I hope Pastor Simon has, listened to what some of you have to say as far as the feedback on the question. And that is, why do most men avoid committed relationships? And of course, to help us really understand this whole concept about commitment phobia, what is it all about, what brings about, the phobia, and how you can deal with it, and especially for a man who really, really is struggling as far as commitment is concerned. So Pastor Simon Mbevi, who is a relationship counselor, is joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Pastor Simon. It's so good to see you this morning. Thank you very much, really, for sparing your time to help us understand, this whole concept about commitment phobia. How are you doing?
Well, good morning, and I am doing well. It's good to see you and to be involved in this conversation.
All right.
So I'm doing great, and good start to the conversation.
Okay, all right. I'm pretty sure you've had some of the feedback as far as the whole question on commitment is concerned, Pastor Mbevi. One person said finances, that is the main issue why people are scared to commit. But then again, there's something else that, the last feedback that we read, and this person says, men are not afraid to commit. It's just that they will commit when they find the right woman to commit to. And I'm just going to start from that point, and that is when it comes to relationships for a man. What is it that men need in a relationship? Whether, looking for a partner and then settling down, long-term relationship. What is it that a man needs? What exactly is it?
Definitely a good question. And I like what Chris said, when a man gets someone worth committing to, and also about the money, but we'll get back to that. I think two big things I hear from the men that I work with in the programs that we do, especially some of them who have not committed yet. Number one, I think a lot of men just, I usually like to say that women need to be wanted. I think they love the pursuit and the attention and someone just showing you that they want you. But men want to be needed. Men want to be needed. They want to feel like there's a role they play in the life of the woman that is significant and crucial. And some of them run away because they feel maybe I'm just one of the many things that this in the ladies' world. And then there are others who are running away because are not committing. Like a gentleman I spoke to yesterday after, I was told I'll be here, and asked him, why have you found it very hard for you to commit in a relationship? And the thing he told me is that there are just too much demands. Too much demands from the women I have met, because this is what he said. They have some money, but they want us to use my money. The way they say that my money is my money. Your money is our money.
Yeah.
So just you're telling me I feel a lot of pressure to have to do certain things, and yet it looks like this lady is earning just as much as I'm earning, but the demands and the expectations, and I just don't know whether I can hack this. It's a little bit too much of demand, some of the men would say. But a lot of men are looking, many have heard them say, we're looking for a woman who is simple enough to take me for who I am and respect me for who I am, and whatever I have, we're going to share together. But to feel like I'm valued and needed in this relationship as a man.
All right. Okay, I have so many questions about the whole aspect on demands. As far as the whole aspect of men just want someone who is simple and would accept them for who they are. But then again, today's show is specifically dedicated to them, and so we're gonna maybe put a pause there as far as the women and the needs and all those things. But there's something that you said which is I think is very interesting, and that is women need to be wanted, but men want to be needed, and that is very interesting to see that too. So then the question on commitment. I know what you said is that some men want simplicity, all right? Just take me for who I am, my dreams, my goals, and everything else. Others would say you need to have this, this or that for me to sort of like commit to you. But then again, so when it comes to commitment for a man, what is that key thing that men want, that they feel or they need? No, you said yes, want to be needed. So what is it that the men want that would sort of make it easier for the man to commit to this particular woman? What is so important to the men? I know majority of the times for us ladies we think you gotta have the looks, you have to be this way, you have to be that way, but it goes beyond just beauty. Just goes beyond the physical attributes. So for so many men, what is that important thing that will not make it hard for them to commit?
Again, a very good question. And I guess we're going to go back and talk about some of the different reasons why some of the men don't commit. Right. But maybe before we get to that, I think a lot of the men I talk to, and again, I'm talking to them, not just my opinion, for them, what I've heard them say. I think a lot of them, I've heard them say, I'm looking for character, honesty, a person who is able to I can tell this is who she is. I can trust her with my life. I can trust her with my money. I can trust her with the things that I have. There are a lot of them who say, I just want someone of character. Character. Just like you say, character. But we're looking for character. And yes, of course, the looks are important, visual, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But beyond that, then what is the substance of character? what's the substance of that, what we were saying, respect. It's interesting, you know, men interpret love as respect. I do a lot of relationship counseling, and I've never heard a man say, sitting in a counseling room, that this woman doesn't love me enough. I've heard women say that 1,000 times, but men will always interpret it like, this lady doesn't respect me enough. So for men, love is spelled respect. And respect doesn't mean you don't challenge me as a man and tell me, man, you need to pull up your socks, you need to find a job, you need to do better. There's that respectful challenge that needs to happen. But when a man doesn't feel respected for who he is, or taken for who he is, accepted for who he is, yes, challenged to become better, then it becomes difficult for them to commit because they are afraid. How is this going to look? There are some of them who have said, of course, some of them, I don't fully agree with them, but some have said, well, the lady is too empowered and she knows what she wants. And, you know, I don't know what is my place. You know, she's not even asking for opinions. She's just doing what she needs to do. She knows her way around. So I almost don't feel needed. Some of the men have said that. I don't feel like I play a role. I feel like I'm just part of her life, but not a significant part of her life. So, yeah, those are the different sort of arguments that we hear from the men.
And it's very interesting.
But a lot of them is just character, yeah.
Yeah. So top of the list is character. Men just want, they're looking, majority of the men would look for character. And again, like you're saying, it's different strokes for different folks. Different men have the different, you know, needs that they have, and of course the things that they're looking for in a relationship. But now my question is, so when it comes to commitment and the fear of commitment, is it almost always a woman issue? Because now, if we say women are too demanding, women are too materialistic, women are too the character kidogo, there's a bit of an issue. Is it always a woman's issue that the man does not commit? Or it could also be maybe they just have commitment phobia?
Well, this is the thing about relationships. Many people look at the other person first, and they don't look at themselves. And yes, many of them will blame the lady, but a lot of them, it's their own issues. A lot of them that I've talked to. Let me highlight 4 issues that I've found a lot of men carry themselves, and therefore they're projecting it into their relationships. And number 1 is past experiences. Past experiences. It could be things that happened when they were young. You know, they were abandoned, or they lost a relative and they just found like, I don't want to commit to people, they may not stay. You know, there could be psychological reasons for that. That I trusted someone and then they just up and left, maybe divorce and separation from their parents. Or maybe they have committed before in a relationship and it did not end well. So past experiences or unresolved past experiences could affect a man's attitude towards commitment. Number 2, some of them fear, again, unjustifiably, the weight of responsibility. I like what you said when someone said, we don't have money, and said, if you want to get married, you need some money. So sometimes we just fear responsibility, because there's a lot of responsibility to say, I now commit to this lady. I'm here to stay. You know, I'm going to say to focus my eyes here, not outside here. And it's meant to be a manly commitment. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. You've got to be able to say, I want this, or commit to this. And that comes with a weight of responsibility. And you deal with, of course, reasonable demands. We talked about some ladies being over-demanding, and that's what some of the men will do. But, you know, those are only a few. The majority are good women who just, their needs are reasonable like any other person, just like the man's. And then thirdly, for me, some of the men just have character issues. They have the opportunity to look around and not feel like now I've been I've been committed to this woman alone. I want to feel like, yeah, there's a lady here, but I also have a choice to text another and talk to another and take a drink with another. There are a lot of men who just don't want to focus on one. They want to have the freedom to be able to go around. And so that would be a character issue because they want space. That's why they don't want to commit. And lastly, I think for me, it's just life situations. Maybe you don't feel ready to settle down, or you're afraid of settling down, or they're just cash issues, and you feel like I'm going to be judged unfairly for where I'm at right now in life. But generally, just prevailing circumstances that could make you feel, I am not ready yet. I'm not ready yet, but I'll be ready at some point. Yeah. And sometimes you just need to give them time to get to where they need to get.
They need to get. Okay. And a number of things that you've said, I think majority of the things, and especially the feedback that we're getting, you have sort of like alluded to. But it's something else that, when I was reading through this, someone said there's that aspect of fear of rejection. Like, for example, if I approach this, this lady, what if they reject me? And I'm just curious in terms of where does this fear come from that, or stem from, that might make this man not even attempt to approach a lady or talk to a lady? Is it something, bigger than, just the whole aspect of, I don't know how this person is going to react when I tell them how exactly I feel about it, the intensity of the scene?
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who got married last year, who was actually in his late 40s, and whenever I asked him why he's not committing, he would tell me, once I got very close to a lady, but then when I popped the question, it was negative, and he just felt so broken in his ego. And he just said, I don't want to do this until I'm very sure. Thankfully, last year he did it. He was my friend, and we kept pushing it, but lastly he did it. So it could be different reasons. Fear rejection could come out of a past experience, or could come out of a place of lack of self-confidence. They're just some men who are shy, and they're not confident in themselves, and they don't feel like they are worth as much, so they have self-esteem issues. Others, just insecurity issues. I remember a man I dealt with once who came to Man Enough, and as he went through it, he said, I'm beginning to see why I just love looking for the damsel in distress, or someone really broken, because then I feel like I'm important. I feel like I'm needed to rescue her. But when I find a healthy person, then I don't feel like I can handle it. So I don't want to commit, but I want to be available to rescue the damsels in distress. So again, different issues that different men go through that may make them not want to commit.
I hear
and
that.
Fear rejection. And even maybe to add something there very quickly, but together with fear of rejection, a lot of men fear they may not perform well. In fact, the fear of failure or inability to perform is way bigger than the fear of rejection, generally for men, than it is for ladies. And ladies is probably the other way around. But when a man doesn't feel confident, I'm going to be I'm going to make it in this relationship. If they feel like I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know whether I can succeed, I don't know whether I'm up to this, then a man would rather not try something than when they think they're going to fail, try and think they're going to fail.
All right, and someone else was actually saying, there's also that aspect of they're scared, they're afraid of change. Like, for example, if I commit this woman, what's going to happen? My life is going to change. Maybe me nimezoea, nikienda nimeenda. I don't have to tell anyone anything. I am responsible for myself. But then if I commit to someone, there's also, that fear that how is their life going to change. We're about to take a break, but of course, when we come back, we'll delve deeper into this whole aspect of, they are afraid of the change, but also something else. Is the fact that they would rather not commit because they love their space and distance. So majority of the men would rather have a long distance relationship than, one that is, more physical, because, so we'll delve deeper into that and of course just get to understand. So what are some of these signs that a man is non-committal? Because even for the man themselves, they might not know that they have a commitment phobia. So what is it that, that this phobia looks like? So we'll dive deeper into that in a moment. But remember the question that we're asking you today, and that is, why do most men avoid committed relationships? Once again, why is it that some men avoid committed relationships? Let's get to see what you have to say as far as that is concerned. So Zenas Bet says, we fear what our counterparts, quote unquote, married men are going through. And remember, a woman and dogs are loved unconditionally, but a man is loved on a condition that he provides something. We've got nothing to provide. Why should we? Wow. Okay. All right, let's get to hear what someone else has to say as far as that is concerned. Dagi Mohati says, even the Bible says it's better to live on top of the roof rather than live with a troublesome and nagging wife. Hiyo kelele ndio hatupendi kabisa. Ala, wanawake tunapigia tu kelele. All right. Tum Moses Kimtai says, an ideal man can't commit himself, especially to anything where a woman is concerned. Remember, even the Bible, I rest my case. All right, and then someone else says, this is Hilary Finch, who says their demand is too high. Most of them don't have money, but they want to put all problems to the man of God. Okay, all right, like the man is the issue. Okay, and then Dennis Langat says relationships nowadays is turning to be an occupation. Money minting opportunity. This money issue, Pastor Mbevi. Pesa, shida. All right, Obusiani Samson Sumba says, but our women are now men. We are saving that energy to go and help dear Congo. Okay, Samir Rungu says, man invest where there's return and value, all right? Something to think about. And then Chris Kipkoti says, because ladies have become the men they want. Okay, a question that you talked about, Pastor Mbevi, about empowerment there. And then Muriuki Nyaga says that marriage is about cost sharing, but so many women take it like employment sector. They are there to learn. And wait, let me read that again. Muriuki says marriage is about cost sharing, but so many women take it as employment sector. They are there to earn. Oh, I get what you're saying. All right, thanks, Muriuki. And then do you have one more? One person says, all right, okay, so of course we're compiling more of your feedback as far as the question of the day, and that is, why is it that most men actually avoid committed relationships? So we'll be sampling more of your feedback. But again, if you want to speak to Pastor Mbevi directly and ask him your question, or you have a comment to share, or you also want to share your story, feel free to also interact with us. The numbers, are there, and the lines are open, all right? Don't wait until the end of the show for you to call, because again, time flies very fast. So if you have a question, call in now, and we'll direct them to Pastor Mbevi. You want to share your commitment story? Again, feel free to do so, and of course, we are here for you. Well, before we go on a break, a very quick reminder about, an event that is happening. It started yesterday, and of course, will continue today as well. That is 29th and 30th of November 2022, and that is the YSK National Science and Technology Exhibition. Remember, we said this is the 5th edition, and this will be held, at Sarit Expo Center in Westlands. It's actually ongoing, so this is a good thing for all the parents to, and right now we have some learners at home, even as the others are actually doing their examination. So it could be a good thing to take your child there and see what is amazing, young people are doing as far as science is concerned. And the theme for the exhibition is using STEM to redefine our future. And of course, this year's exhibition will be piloting the first ever hybrid physical and virtual event that will involve students from 37 counties, including 4 special needs education schools. And we have over 400 students who will be showcasing, their projects, 203 to be specific, in 4 award areas. course, social and behavioral sciences, chemical, physical and mathematical sciences, biological and ecological sciences, as well as technology. So this is something that could interest a number of you, especially the young ones. So for the parents, take your children there. But remember, this is the last day, okay, of the exhibition. So let's take that break. When we come back, more to come as far as commitment phobia is concerned. And today, it's all about the men. See you shortly.
Did you know shorter is better on YouTube Shorts?
Stand a chance to win cash or free data every day. Buy the daily YouTube for 10 bundle and stand a chance to win cash or free data every day. Buy the YouTube for 10 bob bundle. Create a YouTube short with a hashtag shorter is better. Best video with the most likes stands a chance to win weekly cash prizes.
His eggs are huge. As for
Santon, a fun new world of flavor, fruity freshness in every sip.
Young Scientist Kenya brings you the 5th National Science and Technology Exhibition on 29th to 30th November 2022 at the Sarit Expo Center in Westlands with the theme Using STEM to Redefine Our Future. Since 2018, YSK has reached over 200,000 students from all 47 counties through STEM mentorship and outreach program. Additionally, YSK's goal for inclusion and diversity through the Leave No Learner Behind program provides students with special needs, marginalized girls, and those in arid and semi-arid lands access to STEM learning equipment. To attend the exhibition, visit www.ysk.co.ke/2022 exhibition. Young Scientists Kenya, inspiring, informing, and empowering youth towards STEM.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup will see the best footballers on the planet do battle. African champions Senegal are aiming to emulate the heroes of 2002. Jan Sommer is set to surprise with Switzerland again. And Spanish sensation Ansu Fati is ready to make his mark on the biggest stage. The clock is ticking on the countdown to Qatar.
New Sensodyne Repair and Protect with Deep Repair. It's a huge game changer for me. The science is pretty amazing because it really goes deep inside the tooth and repairs tooth sensitivity. It's going to improve the quality of my life in a big way.
We know your flavor, and that's how you inspire us to always deliver the best quality meals made fresh with locally sourced ingredients. Galitos, bold African flavor.
Get the Galitos Hot Box and a 500 ml Coke soda at just 699 Kenya shillings.
Welcome back. Today it's all about commitment phobia among the men, and we asked you this very simple question: why is it that most men avoid committed relationships? All right, why is it that most men avoid committed relationships is the question that we're asking you today. And of course, we're getting a number of really interesting feedbacks as far as the reasons why there is that aspect of phobia when it comes to commitment among some men. We know some who are fully committed to their relationships, and you know others who kidogo, they're like, ay, we ngoja kwanza, all right? And some of the, many reasons that have been cited, includes ladies being too demanding. There's the whole aspect of over-empowerment and, amongst so many other reasons. And of course, we're just delving deeper into really understanding. So where does the phobia then stem from, all right? And is it always just about the women, or it could be, a number of issues, including unresolved trauma and, maybe fear of rejection, which we talked about before we went on a break. So we'll be delving deeper into that in just a moment. But a quick reminder, just in case you're tuning in right now, and that is an ongoing exhibition organized by this Young Scientists of Kenya, all right, YSK. And of course, the exhibition is ongoing, started yesterday, and of course, it will end today. And we're having over 400 students who'll be participating. They'll be showcasing 203 projects in 4, again, different areas. And of course, like we said, the 80 finalists projects from 71 schools will be exhibited at the Sarit Expo Center. And the students will be competing for the Young Scientists of the Year award amongst the other 22 awards. And of course, like we said, and especially for the parents, you have a child who's really into sciences, or maybe not, and they might just want to understand, what is going on. Maybe could spark your child's interest. Then you want to take them to Sarit Expo Center. Of course, the exhibition is ongoing, and we have a number of young persons, young people, who are doing amazing things, as far as science is concerned, STEM subjects, the one that we usually say this is mostly for the boys. No, it could be also for the girls as well. So you want to take your child there. Remember, it ends today, so you need to find yourself there. That is at Sarit Expo Center today, all right? And of course, let's just go back to the conversation. And Pastor Mbevi, remember, like we said before we went on a break, then, for example, I am a man. How do I know that I have a commitment phobia? Because, like we said, there are some people who just don't want to commit because they do not want to commit. But we also have others who really have deep-rooted issues. For example, we talked about unresolved, past traumas, whether childhood or adulthood, the fear of rejection, character, being an issue. So how do I know? Suppose I'm a man, all right? How do I know that I have commitment phobia? Or maybe as a lady, how do I know that this guy that I am seeing has commitment phobia? What are some of these signs to look out for?
Again, a very good question. I think number one, when you find a man or you find yourself as a man, you like someone, you're buying a lot of coffee, month in, month out, but you're not just able to pop the question. And every time you're asked, so where is this going? You don't even know where it's going, and you don't want to say. In fact, you freak out at the thought of committing yourself and saying we are dating or we are serious in this. When you find yourself freaking out and taking too long to define the relationship, we always say it's good to define the relationship. We used to call it DTR. Define what this relationship is about. Where is it going? What are the expectations? When as a man you always run away when that question pops up, then most likely you have a commitment phobia. All right. Secondly is maybe when you just don't want to introduce this person to your world. You get to know a man is serious if I begin to tell you, oh, this is my mom, this is where she is, this is my family, these are my boys. Then you're being introduced into the man's world because he takes you seriously. But when you find as a man you're just too afraid to be seen with this lady, you want to tell your boys, no, wait for me, I'll come there. You don't want them to come because you're with her. Then you probably don't want to commit because you don't want people to identify you with this person. And even if you want, every time they ask you, so what's going on? It looks like you're getting serious. No, I'm not. I'm just checking things out. Okay. Then you probably have that phobia. When you find yourself appearing and then disappearing, there are those guys who this week they call you 3 times and the next 2 weeks they don't call you at all. They just ghost you and they are not available, and yet they come out and now they're very involved. It could be several reasons, but that could be one of the signs coupled with others. That they get into it, they feel like it's moving too fast, and so they jump off the bus, they breathe for a while, and then they come back.
A lot of
they're probably not ready
inconsistencies.
for it,
A lot
right?
of inconsistencies as far as that is concerned. Okay. Hey. All right. How about we take a caller, and then when we come back, I'm sure most of the ladies who are watching thinking, where? Kuba, this is what has been happening, because it sounds all too familiar. But let's answer a caller, and then we'll come back, into this. And remember that question that I asked in terms of like long distance relationship. Most of them would prefer that than having you closer every day. Is that a sign of a man who has commitment phobia? Well, Pastor Baby will answer that. But quickly, Moses from Kisumu is, either has a question or a comment. Moses, it's so good to speak with you this morning. Do you have a question for Pastor Baby?
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling us. Do you have a question or a comment?
No, I actually have a comment.
You have a what? I can't hear you. Can you just speak up?
I have a comment.
All right, go ahead.
So, you see, my school of thought is quite different, okay?
Okay.
So, we have like empowered women.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want us to build more than empowerment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
An empowered woman will want you to meet her standards, number one.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to invest emotions, number two. Mm-hmm. And then now, this is where the boundary is drawn. She comes with her own lifestyle. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to fit on yours. Mm-hmm. So you see, it's not like it is a detachment. Mm-hmm. It is too much of an investment that the man feels that he won't have his own time to concentrate on his own abilities. You understand that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you see, it is a turn-off.
Okay.
Because immediately invest in that, she will like, let's say you had your own lifestyle, you had the way you do your own things, and then she comes, and then now you're a family, you love to do it like this, okay? Mm-hmm. So it's quite a turn-off. Mm-hmm. I think that's my school of thought.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Moses, for your contribution. Do you sort of like have an experience? Because it sounds like you do.
Yeah.
Is that what happened to you?
I'll pass that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Moses, for coming by. Again, for calling us this morning. If you have a question, if you have a comment as well, as far as the topic of conversation today, that is commitment phobia among the men. Again, feel free to give us a call. And of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts. But again, keep sending them on our social media platforms at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. Please remember to tag me as well at Lubembe_Winnie. Let's get to hear what you have to say as far as that is concerned. Pastor Mbevi, there's also something else that, just got me curious, and that is the whole aspect of some men will tell you, well, let's not put tags, let's not put labels in these relationships. Let's just go with the flow and see how this goes, okay? Is that a sign of, a man who has commitment phobia?
It could be a sign, and I like the way Moses said it's not my experience, but many of them are asking for a friend. It's that's
asking for a friend.
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
There are some genuine cases where we say, okay, this has just begun. It's just 1 month. Mm-hmm. Let's see where it's going. Mm-hmm. But if it's the 10th month and a man is still saying, let's see where it's going,
let's not put labels.
Then there's some.
Yeah,
there's some danger somewhere.
Okay.
There's some danger somewhere.
All right.
Because, within 6 months, you should be able to tell what's the direction. Mm-hmm. And labels should be put, because labels then help know what are the expectations, what am I needed to do, and stuff like that. So labels are good at some point, but they shouldn't be the first thing in the first 2 weeks. It's a second date and you're asking for a label defining what it is.
Yeah. Okay. And then something else that I also read, they were saying that if this man has, a history of moving around a lot, especially when it comes to jobs, that could be a sign. What do you think of that? I thought that was really interesting.
Well, you need to know, to be fair, you need to know why was he moving. Maybe he's just ambitious, yeah? He's just trying to go to this job, that job. But then there are others who are doing that because of reason. They just don't want to commit. They don't want to stick it out. We have a joke among the boys that Arsenal fans would be very loyal because they commit to the same team for a very long time. But that's a joke, there are men who would change jobs because of other reasons, but there are some who would change. I mean, that could be a sign of something else, and you need to know, is it ambition? Is it fear to stay? Is it inability to stick to something? Yeah, I think it's not good to judge it at the face value, but it could be a pointer to something. All of life always something deeper.
That's true. That's true. All right. And then very quick question. So we talked about, you talked about, I mean, labels are important, but the whole question about time. Is time a factor when it comes to commitment? Because remember, like we said, I mean, in 6 months, you should be able to tell exactly where this relationship, you know, is. And I'm sure you've interacted with people who say, listen, I've dated this man for 5 years, you know, 6 years, but still there's no ring on the finger. So is time a factor when it comes to commitment? Like, should a man be able to sort of commit by this particular time? If that doesn't happen, then it means could be an issue.
Yeah, I think in my opinion that beyond 6 months into a year, if a relationship is intense, and when it's beginning to look, you know, very close, then there should be a certain level of commitment. There could be different levels of commitment before you put the finger. For example, within 6 months, a man should be able to claim you. That's what I tell the ladies. If a man can't introduce you and say, this is my woman, or this is, but if he just says to the boys, you know, this is Mwende, and is not saying what it is, then that's a scare. That's a scare, because the man is not claiming you. But just to say as well, I think it's important for ladies as well. I know we're talking about the men, but it's important for ladies to be able to help a man who, for some reason or another, is on challenges, as we have enumerated, is not able to commit, for you to demand some commitment. You know, you can't just be living in the house with a guy for 3 years. But you don't know what this.
But there's usually this thing about don't rush me. I will take this, you know, as we will see where it goes. Don't rush me. I'm taking my time. But before you answer that, we have a caller on the line, Issa from Busia. Good morning. Thank you very much for calling us this morning. Do you have a question for Pastor Mbevi? Issa? Oh, mzuri sana. Habari yako?
Nzuri.
Asante sana kwa kutupigia simu. Uko na swali kwa Pastor Mbevi?
Nilikuwa na swali na kuuliza.
All right.
Hiyo maneno ya mnasema ni wanawake nini? Na ukiwa na mwanamke ndio alafu yeye amepata pesa kulipo. Mnaweza namna gani? Hiyo ndio nilikuwa nauliza swali.
Ati ukiwa na mwanamke anafanya nini?
Yeye kuna basi amepata
Oh, mwanamke amepata pesa.
Yeye kwa kama nilipo sasa unaweza ishi unaweza fanya
Okay. All right. Asante sana Isa for your question. Pastor Mbevi, did you get him? I think he was asking, unaishi aje na mwanamke yeye ako na pesa mingi. I guess that is what I got from what he was saying. Mnaishi na yeye aje?
Ya, unajua kuna wanaume wengi wanaogopa mwanamke ana pesa. In fact, many times I ask men in our program, Man Enough, I ask them, how many of you would marry a woman who has more money than you or is earning more than you? And a lot of them don't want to. And part of it is just the way men view money. They see money as power, whereas women see money as security. Generally, psychologically, women see money as security, a way to secure the future, secure things. But men, they feel like, I am powerless without money. What can I do? What can't I do? And so a lot of men fear that, but I don't think it should be a fear, because relationship is about respect and understanding each other. There was a time in my marriage, for example, when I was not working because I was in college and my wife was working, and we didn't have issues because we knew we are in this together and we are providing together for the family. And then other times that I've worked when she has not worked, and it's not been an issue. So I think it should be beyond money, unless now someone is using money not to respect you or to feel like you're useless or to attack you. That would be another issue. It's not the money, it's the attitude. And so I don't think as men we should fear. In fact, we should be, it's a strategic decision if you get someone who is earning a little bit more than you.
That's true. That's true. All right. So let's take a look a bit more of your feedback as far as the question that we're asking you. That is, why do most men avoid committed relationships? So again, why is it that most men avoid committed relationships? Let's get to hear what some of you have to say. Pretty Naomi Nyabae says, lack of propriety, lack of focus, thinking they are still young. Kuna hawa watu wanaitwa bestie. She does everything for him, like a relationship, but will never settle with him. But men deserve nothing. Hey, okay. And then Mike Daddy Angel says, getting committed calls for loads of demands, which sometimes make it difficult for men to meet. So the only way out is not to engage in that unless it is that which is for settling thereafter. Here, okay. And then someone else says, Biwot Solomon says, it happens only when a man is not stable financially, because a few women who are stable will support such men. Where this money issue? Hey, higher. Anfield Cherinyit says, it's simply because committed relationships lead or led to deep instinct affair between the two of you. Hence, when it comes to heartbreak, a lot of pain is encountered. We fear pain, and that is the difficult to part. All right. Then Lawrence Muley Mudama says, this is individual behavior. Each player have their own reasons. That's true. All right. And then someone else says, this is Jacobs D. Slim Boy. Where? Says, committed relationships hurt more. Women wake up with different feelings every day. You can love her truly, and she'll be like, I don't like the way you love me so much. Therefore, I can't stand it, and I want a breakup. All right. Okay. And then Dorothy Avuja says, the only thing they can commit to is football. Hey, because it's easy with World Cup ongoing. All right. And then Yusuf Sayani says, what do women have to offer, rather? Only one thing. You men go out of your way, risk your life to keep them happy. So why get in a commitment and lose your freedom? Just be happy with one or many. Hiya, no commitments. Allah. Okay. All right. Let's get to hear what someone else says. This is Mwangi Denny says, as men's spokesman, we just fear the name committed, commitment, whatever. Anything that has the is an issue. Okay. And then Noila says, 1 minute silence to all the relationships that collapsed due to high price of unga. Okay, 1 minute. We'll observe 1 minute. All right. And then Henry Richboy says, most women are a hindrance to men's freedom and happiness. They think nagging is a basic right. Hey, okay. Hey, a lot of things. Pastor Baby, what do you say? What do you say to all this?
I think I would say, again, like we have said before, you can't have your cake and eat it. So if you don't want to commit, there are just levels of intimacy you will never get to in a relationship. And in fact, I've written a small book called The 5 Commitments of a Real Man. And in that book, I've really argued a man is as good as its commitments. Not just football, but for even deeper life-changing things like relationship. There's someone who said, someone said we fear heartbreak, so you don't want to face that pain. And it's true, a lot of men don't know how to process pain and issues like those. But, someone has said to live and to love is to be vulnerable. To live and to love is to be vulnerable. As long as you're alive, someone is going to hurt you. Pain is going to come. As long as you love someone else, you know, you're signing up for some disappointment. But that cannot make you withdraw to your bedroom and say, I'll never get out of the house or never love anyone. Then you'll be a lonely person in this world. So every venture has its risks, and it takes someone who wants a benefit to commit to a certain relationship. You cannot want privileges without responsibility. They just go together, and I think we learned that in teenage. You can't want privileges and then you don't want responsibilities. They just go together.
Okay. All right, Pastor Bevi, we need to bring this conversation to a close. Time is not on our side, but in like 30 seconds, is there hope? Can this change? You know, as far as this phobia, can it ever change? Because for most women, it will be like, Nisawa too, maybe atabadilika as we go on. So can this ever change? Very quickly before we end the conversation.
Yeah, I think there's always hope for change. As long as there's a tomorrow, there's always hope for change, but change happens to the willing. Change happens to the willing. If a person is willing, there's always help. If it's internal character or trauma issues, and that can be sorted out in a counseling session and talking with someone else. But also, relationships are important, guys. Let's commit to relationship, and if there are issues, let's deal with them, because relationship is a beautiful thing. But it's not going to happen if there's no commitment, willingness, and the ability to deal with the issues within, so that we get what we need to get in relationships. So let's do it. There's hope.
I hear you. Thank you very much, Pastor Bevi. I like that. You know, relationship is a beautiful thing, and there's hope. So let's stick to the hope. All right, and of course the willingness part has to be there. Pastor Simon Bevi, relationship, you know, counselor, of course, runs a program called Man Up. Again, beautiful, beautiful insights that we've had today. So we say thank you so much, really, you know, for that. We really don't take your time for granted. It's such a sun, and of course, thank you very much to all of you who, again, you know, called in, shared your experiences, and of course asked your questions as well. We say thank you very much, you know, for being part of the conversation. But very quickly before we go, remember the ongoing exhibition that is happening at Sarit Expo Center, and this is organized by the Young Scientists, you know, of Kenya, which again aim to inspire, to inform, and as well as to empower. Over 400 you know, participants are taking place. Over 203 projects are being exhibited today, and of course, you know, 80 finalist projects from 71 schools will be exhibited. And like I said, for the parents, you want to take your child there, or you might just want to go and see what exactly is happening. And everybody else, really, just go to Sarit Expo Center and see what these amazing, amazing young scientists are doing. Remember, the expo ends today, so find yourself there. You know, and remember, the theme is using STEM to redefine our future. But that is not the only thing that is ongoing. Remember, on the 8th and 9th of this, no, next month, December, this month is coming to an end today. Next month, that is from the 8th and 9th, we'll be having, you know, the Kusi Festivals, which again has been organized by Nation Media Group. And of course, it's all about climate change. This will be happening at the Karura Forest. So again, you do not want to miss, you know, the Kusi Festivals, again, because right now there's a lot of conversation as far as climate change is concerned. It's impacting all of us. So it is important for all of us to be part of the same. So register for the Kusi Festival and be part of the same, be part of this conversation. And of course, several thematic areas that will be highlighted, including the climate change as far as water and resources, climate change as well, the narratives, and mobilizing action, which, you know, we had a conversation yesterday and we said it's important, as well as not forgetting adaptation and mitigation. It's a lot of things that will be discussed during the Kusi Festival. So you need to register now. It will be happening at Karura Forest from the 8th to 9th. So my name is Winnie Lubembe. Have yourselves a lovely day ahead. Thank you very much for participating. But the conversation continues on our social media platforms at